Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Marcia Gordon. I'm the president and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester, and we are so pleased to be here for what I think is our probably 22nd year of our KeyBank speaker series and a return in a new position of Chancellor John King. I'm very, very pleased, very excited to hear from Dr. King, and very, very pleased to have KeyBank here to welcome everyone and introduce our new KeyBank board member, Wallace Lynch, who is Senior Vice President for Business Banking and a sales team leader at from Hudson Valley, Metro New York market of KeyBank. Wallace?
Thank you, Marcia. And I appreciate the opportunity to welcome everyone on behalf of KeyBank. You know, as Marcia said, I'm Wallace Lynch, the business banking sales leader for KeyBank here in Hudson Valley, and a newly appointed board member to the Business Council of Westchester. KeyBank has had a presence, on the council for many, many years. And I'm honored to now assume a leadership seat on behalf of KeyBank. I'm excited to work more closely with the council and support our local business. My team and I serve businesses, throughout Westchester County, and appreciate being the bank of choice for many of our local businesses in Westchester County. KeyBank has been a sponsor of this speaker series for over 20 years because supporting local business is the key to our success in this market and is key to the economic health and well-being of our community. Marcia and John always have their fingers on the pulse of the local economy and are committed to connecting us to community leaders who have impact on our business. Such is the case with today's speaker, Chancellor John B. King Jr. The SUNY higher education system is an important driver of the workforce and the development in our economy. And I look forward to hearing Chancellor King's presentation. Thank you for joining us today and enjoy the program.
Thank you so much, Wallace. And I just want to say that KeyBank has been such a fabulous partner to so many businesses in Westchester and throughout the Hudson Valley in New York State. And we all know that, especially at this time in the past few years, one thing that we learned is that relationships with our bankers, our community banks, as KeyBank is, and KeyBank is even a little bit larger. So KeyBank, you have the best of both worlds because KeyBank is a community bank, but it's also a larger bank that provides additional products and services. And relationships with our bankers was so important to keeping businesses alive, keeping them thriving, and keeping our economy healthy. So Wallace, to KeyBank and all the wonderful team that you have, thank you for everything you've done. You have been key to our success. So appreciate it. And it's my honor now to introduce John B. King Jr., who is the 15th Chancellor of the State University of New York, SUNY, the largest comprehensive system of public higher education in the United States. Prior to his appointment as Chancellor, Dr. King served as president of the Education Trust, a national civil rights nonprofit which seeks to identify and close opportunity and achievement gaps for students from preschool through college. Love that whole view of the systemic part of education, John, which I know you bring to SUNY. Chancellor King also served in President Barack Obama's cabinet as the 10th U.S. Secretary of Education. I'll say that again. He served in President Obama's cabinet as the 10th U.S. Secretary of Education. So he's had tremendous influence on the national scale. Upon tapping him to lead the U.S. Department of Education, President Obama called King an exceptionally talented educator, citing his commitment to preparing every child for success and his lifelong dedication to public education as a teacher, principal, and leader of schools and school systems. Before his appointment as Secretary of Education, Chancellor King fulfilled the duties of Deputy Secretary of Education, overseeing all policies and programs related to P through 12 education, English learners, special education, and innovation, near and dear to the Business Council of Westchester's heart. His service in Washington, D.C. followed Chancellor King's tenure as New York State's first African-American and first Puerto Rican education commissioner, a role in which he oversaw all elementary and secondary schools, as well as public education and proprietary colleges and universities, professional licensure, did I say that right? Libraries, museums, and numerous other educational institutions. Chancellor King holds a Bachelor of Arts in Government from Harvard University, a JD from Yale Law School, as well as a Master of Arts in the Teaching of Social Studies and a doctorate in education from Teachers College at Columbia University. Now, the best thing to do, as I do, is to follow Chancellor King on Twitter at John B. King. Chancellor King, welcome back to the Business Council of Westchester. I had the honor of seeing you a few months ago at Westchester Community College. I know Dr. Belinda Miles is on, as well as Dr. Millie Pena and from SUNY Purchase. And we are so proud to have you here and to have two wonderful, wonderful SUNY institutions in Westchester. So Chancellor King, I'm going to turn this over to you for remarks, and we encourage anyone to put questions in the chat room.
Thanks so much, Marcia. It's great to join everybody, and I want to thank Wallace Lynch and KeyBank for this opportunity and bringing us together around this speaker series. I'm particularly pleased to join the Business Council of Westchester again, having been with you all when I was State Education Commissioner, and understanding deeply the important role that the Business Council plays in the economic health of Westchester County, but really in the state. And Westchester is a key engine of economic development for the state of New York, and we're grateful for the role that the Business Council plays. What I wanted to do today is just give you a sense of the things that we're working on at SUNY, some of the ways I hope that we can work together, and I look forward to the discussion. Let me start by framing, why it is that I decided to come back home to New York to lead at SUNY, why I believe so deeply in the SUNY mission. I'm a person who wouldn't be sitting here if not for the role that public education played in my life. I always share with folks, I grew up in New York City, in Brooklyn. Both my parents were New York City public school educators their whole careers, but they both passed away when I was little. My mom when I was 8, and my dad when I was 12. And during the period when it was just my dad and me, my dad was struggling with Alzheimer's. Home was unstable, scary, incredibly difficult. And the thing that saved me was school. School was the one place in my life that was safe, supportive, engaging, nurturing. And I was really blessed to have a series of New York City public school teachers at PS 276 in Canarsie and Mark Twain Junior High School in Coney Island who saved my life. And because of them, I decided to become an educator, try to do for other kids what teachers had done for me. That led to my whole career in education, in every role, from classroom teacher to Secretary of Education for President Obama, to my role now as Chancellor at SUNY. I've always been committed to ensuring that public education is a place of safety and support, of academic excellence, of nurturing, of inspiration, because I know what a transformative difference public education can make. And when I began conversations with the Board of Trustees about this role and speaking with the governor, one of the things I was struck by is the clear commitment from Governor Hochul, from Meryl Tisch, the chair of our Board of Trustees, and the Board of Trustees, to ensuring that SUNY is the best public higher education system in the country. And in order to do that, I think there are 4 core pillars of the work we must do. And so that's where I really want to start, is laying out what those core pillars are and how we're approaching the work. 4 pillars: student success, research and scholarship, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then the 4th, economic development and upward mobility. And I'll start with student success. When we talk about student success at SUNY, we mean really two things. One, every student in New York should know there's a place for them at SUNY, whether that's at one of our community colleges for an associate's degree program or a micro-credential or a certificate or a non-credit workforce program. Could be at a community college, could be at one of our comprehensive colleges like SUNY Purchase, one of our four-year institutions where students have access to a wide range of opportunities, could be at one of our university centers, University at Buffalo, SUNY Stony Brook, University at Albany, or Binghamton University, where we have large public universities that are doing cutting edge research. It could be at one of our graduate schools. But for every student in New York, there is a place for them at SUNY. And we know that's our mission to make sure that every New York family, every New York working adult understands the range of opportunities that are available at SUNY. And we understand that if they don't know, if they miss out on those opportunities, that's a loss, not only for them, but for the state of New York. So we've got to make sure that folks understand that range of opportunities. And we're doing a lot of work to ensure that happens. Actually, literally today, letters are going home to every high school senior in the state, letting them know that they are admitted to their local community college, because we want all students to know college is an option for them. We also have worked to make sure that students at our community colleges are automatically admitted to four-year institutions that are a good match for their academic profile and their interests. We're trying to lower the friction that sometimes gets in the way of students moving on to four-year institutions when they've completed their two-year degree. We also have launched a pilot this year of something we call cascading admissions, where if a student applies to a Stony Brook or UB, doesn't get in, but has academic potential that other institutions across SUNY can see, we're reaching out to them and saying, you didn't get into UB, but there's a place for you at a SUNY Fredonia in a program that is similar to the one you applied to at UB. So we're trying to make sure that the schools that students may not have heard as much about, that they still are learning about them, that they're getting that admissions notification, that again, we're lowering friction that can get in the way of students coming to a SUNY campus. And we're doing work to make sure that students understand the incredible value proposition at SUNY, the affordability along with academic excellence. So that's one core element of student success, making sure every New Yorker knows there's a place for them at SUNY. The other core element of student success is making sure that the students who start finish with a meaningful degree or credential. And we're doing a lot to strengthen our student supports so that we help students get across that graduation stage. And I know Belinda Miles from Westchester Community College is here with us, and they're really a leader across the system in that work. Actually, Westchester Community College was the first campus, the first community college campus that I visited on my 64 campus tour this semester. And I wanted to do that in particular to highlight the Vikings Roads program at Westchester Community College. The Viking Roads program is a program that replicates the very successful ASAP program that was originally launched at the City University of New York, has been replicated in Ohio, and has demonstrated that with the right wraparound supports, the right academic advising, entering community college students can achieve great success. They've shown that they can double community college completion in randomized controlled trial studies. And that program is now being replicated at Westchester Community College, thanks to the leadership of President Miles. And they've just begun, but already in the early implementation, they are seeing students earning more credits, more likely to enroll full-time, and staying enrolled. So we're going to now take that model that Westchester has been implementing, and we're going to expand that system-wide with some new resources we've gotten from the state of New York. We want to make sure that all of our students experience the support they need to complete their degree. I also really appreciate that Westchester Community College and SUNY Purchase work closely together to make it relatively seamless for students to transfer from Westchester to purchase. And that is something we're trying to improve system-wide. We want to make it very clear for students that when they do well in community college, there is a smooth pathway for them into success at one of our four-year institutions. And there are great opportunities for students at purchase. I think about their incredible alumni from Stanley Tucci to Edie Falco to Samara Joy. I mean, their track record in the arts, which is a major economic driver in the New York City metro region, is incredible. But they also have other amazing opportunities. Purchase has a great partnership with SUNY Upstate, which allows students to be admitted simultaneously to Purchase and Upstate Medical. I was just at Upstate Medical on Friday. Upstate Medical is a leading medical school in terms of research, providing great healthcare to Central New York, and also training a diverse, highly skilled healthcare workforce. And Upstate and Purchase collaborate in that way means you can meet a Purchase student who's in their second or third year and knows already that they are headed on to Upstate Medical to begin their medical career. So I'm excited about the opportunities that are available at WCC and at Purchase. And again, we've just got to make sure every New Yorker knows about those opportunities. So that's the first pillar, that student success pillar. Again, making sure students know the opportunities and have the support they need to finish. The second pillar is around research and scholarship. Of course, core to the mission of higher education. SUNY has a great track record of phenomenal research and scholarship that drives economic development. Think about the investment that the state made in nanotech more than a decade ago. That investment is now paid off in New York, really poised to become the Silicon Valley of the semiconductor industry, from Global Foundries and Wolfspeed, who've already found a home here, to Micron that will soon come to Central New York. Thousands upon thousands of jobs being created in the semiconductor industry and the supply chain companies because of the research that's happening here, the incredible investment in laying the groundwork for the semiconductor industry. We've got great research happening in renewable energy, which is going to be a key growth area in the economy. Phenomenal battery research happening at Binghamton, atmospheric science research happening at Albany. Those are going to be drivers of economic opportunity as we grow wind and solar. We know cybersecurity, computer networking, those have been major growth areas. I think about when I visited Westchester Community College, one of the great moments in that visit was visiting with a class of students who were getting their cybersecurity degree. And the students told me this phenomenal story about a recent alum who'd come on campus to visit them to talk about the great six-figure job that alum had secured as a result of the cybersecurity training at Westchester Community College. And what was so striking was the students all could describe the alum's car, because they saw that car and they knew that's the kind of car they might be able to drive if they complete that cybersecurity program and get a great job. So we know at SUNY we have a crucial role to play in connecting growth areas in the economy with research and scholarship, with workforce training. We're uniquely well positioned to do that at SUNY, and we're going to continue to do that. We also have been fortunate that the legislature understands that. The governor put forward a proposal for major new research investments, and the legislature supported that. And so we expect that investment in research to grow. Even this summer, we're piloting 150 research internships for students across 5 of our campuses. That will grow in the coming year to 1,400 internships. And just recently at our State of the University address, I committed the system to a goal. We want every student across SUNY to have a paid internship experience, whether that's a research internship on campus or an internship experience with an employer partner, because we see that as part of our commitment to research and applied scholarship. Third pillar that I want to talk about is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is so crucial in this moment because we really have, sadly, an attack on those principles of diversity, equity, inclusion around the country. We have folks who are trying to undermine the teaching of the truth, hard truths about our history, folks who are trying to reject the value of diversity. And what we're saying at SUNY is diversity, equity, and inclusion are core to what we do. They're core to our operations. They're core to our values. And we're going to stand up for those principles. All of you understand that our students will graduate into diverse workplaces where being able to work with folks who are different from them is going to be a key skill. We also know that as our students move through the workforce and have opportunities to lead in the workforce and become entrepreneurs, they need to understand diversity is a talent strategy. Diversity is a way that we ensure that we have a range of perspectives and experiences informing our decision making. And we know there's good research to show that companies that have more diverse teams get better performance. And so we need our students to understand the value of diversity, and we've got to signal that and reinforce that as a university system. We also know there are skills tied to being able to think through issues of diversity. You know, if you're studying computer science, we need you to know that algorithms can sometimes be designed in ways that reinforce bias. They may seem neutral, but actually that reinforce bias. That's an important issue to grapple with in computer science. If you're training to be a nurse or a doctor, you've got to grapple with our persistent racial health disparities in this country and think about how can we improve our healthcare system to close some of those racial health disparities. So diversity, equity, inclusion is an important academic subject. It's an important value, and it's something that we're going to stand up for at SUNY. A fourth pillar, as I mentioned, economic development and upward mobility. I know this is an audience that understands deeply the relationship between higher education and economic opportunity. We've got to push back on this narrative that college doesn't matter for economic success. We know the truth is, the evidence is overwhelming that if you get a college degree, you'll earn $1 million more over your lifetime. The vast majority of new jobs being created that are good jobs that pay a family sustaining wage require some level of post-secondary training. Now that's college broadly defined. That might be a workforce training program that's tied to an apprenticeship. Might not necessarily lead to a degree, but it's a college program. That might be an associate's degree. That might be a bachelor's degree. Right? There's a range of academic opportunities, but that post-secondary training is essential to success in today's economy. We have to make sure that folks know that. We've got to make sure at SUNY that we are providing the training students need for the jobs that are in demand. I talked about cybersecurity and computer networking at Westchester Community College. We know those are jobs that are much needed. I think about healthcare fields. We project as a state a shortage of something like 40,000 nurses by 2030. SUNY's got the answer. We've got training programs to prepare the next generation of nurses that we need, as well as other healthcare professionals. Westchester Community College has programs in medical coding and health information technology. Those are other health fields where we also have huge demand for employees. So we know we have to adapt our programs. We have to design our programs to meet the needs of growth areas in the economy. We're going to continue to do that. And we need employers to be our partners as we do that work. Let me lay out some things I hope we can do together and then look forward to turning to questions. One, I desperately need all of you to help us convey the value proposition at SUNY to more folks. We are in an environment where students may not recognize the opportunities they are missing. So we've got to tell folks that tuition at SUNY is dramatically lower than many of our peer institutions, and the return on investment is extraordinarily high. So we need you to help us make that case. I imagine many of you are SUNY alums. We need you to tell your SUNY story to young people you encounter, to employees that you encounter, to encourage folks who have some credits and no degree to come back and complete their degree. And we have a range of ways that they can do that. They can do that at certainly at Westchester Community College or at Purchase. We also have SUNY Empire, where students can complete their degrees online. But we want those nearly 2 million New Yorkers with some credits and no degree to finish those degrees, because it will unlock opportunity for them. So we need your help conveying the value proposition. We need your help on designing programs that match workforce needs. I know we have, as I mentioned, President Miles on the Zoom with us today, as well as some folks on her team. They are eager to sit down with employers to define, what's going to make a program meet your needs. What are the right learning objectives? What are the activities and experiences students should be having in their coursework? And then we want to build a feedback loop. So we're hearing from employers, how are students working out? What are the skills they're bringing? What's missing? What are the gaps? How can we help address some of those gaps? So we want that close partnership on program design. So conveying the value proposition, help on program design. And third, I mentioned our goal of internships for all of our students. We need your help in that. We need more paid internships, and that's for the students who are in career-focused programs, but it's also for the students who are pursuing liberal arts degrees. We need them to have experiences that will help them define their career aspirations. So whether it's Westchester Community College students or SUNY Purchase students, we need your help creating those summer and school year internship experiences. Ultimately, know that SUNY is committed to being a community of institutions where learning is valued, where excellence is pursued, and where we are good partners to the business community. So thanks so much for the opportunity to be with you. And I know Marcia has some questions.
Sure, Chancellor King, thank you so much. And thank you for really specifying your 4 long-term goals of student success, of research, of scholarship, and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and economic development and upward mobility. And just staying on partnerships with the business community, and especially internships and other mechanisms. Can you specifically talk about what referral structures are needed to make those paid internships happen, and how the business community can be of help? And then a little bit tied to that, but a little bit of a different initiative is micro-credentialing. And you and I have discussed micro-credentialing, and SUNY has become a very valuable tool for employers to provide necessary skills and employees to gain new talent, not specifically degrees. I also applaud your thoughts on the importance of college and continual learning. So can you also discuss SUNY's robust micro-credentialing offerings?
Sure. So on the micro-credential side, we've got hundreds of micro-credentials that have been developed across the SUNY system. We've got a website on our page on our SUNY website that lists out the various micro-credential options. Our hope is that really we can provide very specific skills that are going to enhance someone's ability to succeed in the workplace. And so one of the things that we need employers partners to do is to work with us on the design of those micro-credentials, help us understand, what is the precise training that you need. And in many cases, our community colleges in particular have worked with employers to develop micro-credential programs for their employees, where it's really the employer coming and saying, here's a gap I see that my employees have, and then work with the faculty at the community college to design a program that meets that precise need. In terms of growing the internships, we need opportunities for students during the school year and in the summer. We need opportunities that are well supported, and we are willing to do the work to help prepare students for those internships. So if you say, we can take interns in these areas, but they need to have completed this level of computer networking training, that's helpful to us. Then we know at what point in a student's educational trajectory they can be an intern. Or if you want to come to us and say, well, we can only do a part-time internship this many hours on these specific projects, and we need the students to be mentored by a faculty member, we can build that.
Mhm.
And I know President Pena, who's on from SUNY Purchase, and President Miles from Westchester Community College, they are ready to sit down with employer partners to define those internship programs that will work best for you.
Wonderful. And can you just talk a little bit about where enrollment is these days in the SUNY system, and also online learning? Has that been a good thing or a not so good thing?
Yeah. So across the SUNY system, we've got 360,000 students who are enrolled in 360,000 across our 64 institutions. But that doesn't, those are students who are in degree programs, but then we've got actually well over 1 million students when you include workforce programs. And so one of the key things that we've got to do at the system is help build a bridge between those workforce programs and degree programs, and in a sense, create a culture of stackable credentials. So a student knows, I'm going to get this micro-credential, it's going to help me move up in the workplace, but then I'm going to use that micro-credential as the foundation for pursuing my associate's degree. I'm going to get my associate's degree. That's going to get me one level of a job. And then maybe 2-3 years later, I'm going to come back and complete my bachelor's degree so I can keep moving up. And I think we are getting better as a system at making those credentials stackable and helping students understand how they can move across the system between institutions to complete their degree. One of the tools to do that is online learning, because it can create the flexible scheduling. It can create even flexibility within a course. So we've got a number of classes across the system that are high flex, where childcare falls through. So you can't be in class today, but you can actually go online and participate in class from home because the classroom is set up so that there's continuous Zoom participation. Again, that's just to try to make it easier for students to get done the work they need to get done. So online learning can be an asset, but it has its challenges. I was teaching at University of Maryland before I came to SUNY, and I remember when we had to pivot during COVID, the early days of the restrictions, had to pivot to online. There are challenges. It's harder to build relationships online. Sometimes students don't feel as close to their faculty members. And so we continue to work on systems to strengthen the mentoring relationships, to use some in-person time mixed with an online course, a more blended model, so that you can overcome some of those limitations of the online setting.
That's great. Now, Chancellor, you and I both serve on the board of the Business Council of New York State. SUNY, we know, is a huge economic contributor to New York State. Can you talk about this in terms of employment, spending, budget, and how important SUNY is to so many communities in the in different counties where they are, frankly, the major employers in an area? And also a little bit about the state budget, which was a little late this year, and did that impact you?
Yeah. So look, one of the things I think people often don't realize, with 64 campuses, SUNY is everywhere throughout the state. More than 95% of New Yorkers are within 30 miles of a SUNY campus. So we really are in every corner of the state, and having visited all 64 campuses this semester, I can tell you we are literally in every corner of the state. We've got some 90,000 folks who are employees either of SUNY or our hospitals. We've got upstate, downstate in Brooklyn, Stony Brook Medical Center. So we've got between the hospitals and the 64 campuses, 90,000 employees. Some, depending on how you count it, even a conservative estimate, it's about $28 billion of economic impact. But it's much bigger if you start to think about the sort of return on investment of things like the investment we've made in the nanotech industry that's helped pave the way for the semiconductor industry to grow in the state. We also, if you look at the alumni of our institutions, if you look at college graduates in New York State, somewhere between 1 in 4 and 1 in 3 New Yorkers with a college degree is a SUNY alum. So it's a huge, huge footprint within the state's economy. But we want to grow more. And one of the great things about the budget this year was really you saw a deep commitment from the governor and the legislature to investing in SUNY. We had $163 million increase in operating aid. It's the largest operating aid increase in some 20 years. That's going to allow our institutions to invest in things like mental health services, supports for students with disabilities, the internship program I described, that's going to allow us to grow to 1,400 additional internships in the next year, as well as flexible investment to attract and retain faculty in growth areas like renewable energy, like cybersecurity and computer networking. We also got $75 million for a transformation fund that will allow campuses to work to develop new programs aligned to growth areas in the economy. So for example, cannabis industry is a new industry. We have a number of campuses that are going to grow programs for that industry. We also saw, I mentioned, a big investment in research. Governor created a $1.5 billion matching fund for endowment investments at our university centers. And just last week, I was at an event in the city where Jim and Marilyn Simons committed $500 million, one of the largest gifts in the history of public higher education, $500 million to Stony Brook University, which is going to allow them to grow.
Huge.
It's
That's
phenomenal.
the largest gift to education, right? Ever.
Yes, unrestricted. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really
incredible.
really impressive investment. And, because of the governor's endowment matching fund, their gift will be amplified with additional state dollars. So, we've got tremendous momentum coming out of this state budget process.
Well, that's great. And I know one of the things I wanted to emphasize, Chancellor, people often say, what can we help? What can we do to help SUNY grow, to help our colleges grow? And I'm sure, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm hearing, spread the word, talk about this.
Yes.
As you were speaking, I had 2 of my members text me, my child just got one of those letters. And that's a great thing. But also, we are all, as business community, in contact with our state legislators. And I think it's important that we continually get the message out to state legislators, not only at budget time, but throughout, how important the SUNY system is. So
absolutely. And, one of the stories that we need to tell is just the range of opportunities. I think about SUNY Maritime, that's in the Bronx, not far from you. Students who graduate from SUNY Maritime are graduating into 6-figure jobs in the shipping industry.
Incredible.
It's phenomenal training that students are getting there. And there are students, sadly, in the Bronx. There are certainly students in Yonkers who would love an opportunity to go to Maritime, but they don't know about it. And so telling the story of the range of options is really critical.
I think that you addressed this, but because it comes from a wonderful member, Ron Kamen, who is, by the way, has a BS and an MS from SUNY Binghamton, so a SUNY alumni. He says he deeply appreciates the incredible opportunities that SUNY offers everyone, but his particular interest in his business, and he's an expert, is in clean energy and sustainability. And so I know you have many programs But can you talk about if there are any initiatives on your own campuses in that area?
Look, this is a hugely important area. I just appointed the first ever Chief Sustainability Officer and Executive Director of Climate Action for the SUNY system. Carter Strickland, who comes to us from the Trust for Public Lands, was the Commissioner for Environmental Protection for Mayor Bloomberg in New York City. Carter's going to be great. He just joined last week, and he's really going to focus on 3 areas. One, sustainability on our campuses. SUNY has 40% of the state's public buildings. If we don't hit net zero targets, the state won't hit net zero targets. So we've got work to do on our campuses to make sure we're as sustainable as possible. 2, research. We've got a tremendous opportunity with the CHIPS Act on the semiconductor side, but with climate issues, we've got the Inflation Reduction Act and a ton of money we can go get. Stony Brook actually just got awarded a partnership at Governor's Island, where we'll build a $700 million campus focus on climate change and resilience. So tremendous opportunity to grow research. But then the third area of focus for Carter will be green jobs. We have an Offshore Wind Institute initiative that Stony Brook and Farmingdale are leading with another 5 or 6 campuses that have just been awarded Wind Institute grants. They will all be preparing folks for jobs in the wind industry. We've got a number of campuses that are launching programs to prepare folks for jobs in solar. So we see green jobs as a real growth area for New York State and for SUNY, and we want to be leaders in that.
That's terrific. And don't forget about Ron Kamen, who's a real expert, and I'm volunteering him if you need advice.
I'd love to connect with him.
Okay, wonderful.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Finally, I know when we talked about your biography, Chancellor, we talked about you really being committed to the system of education. Does SUNY have any initiatives with secondary schools or even elementary schools?
Yeah, 2 really exciting things. We've got a number of campuses that have PTech programs.
Yes, we're very familiar with PTech. Yes.
And this is something that started, years ago. Back when I was state commissioner, actually, I helped launch an effort to scale PTech across the state. The original PTech program was in Brooklyn, a partnership between IBM, New York City Department of Education, and CUNY, where students graduate with an associate's degree, a high school diploma, first in line for a job at IBM. And obviously, we've grown the PTech program throughout the state and continue to do so. And we're excited about that opportunity for high school students to get exposure to college and careers while in high school. We also just announced with the White House, SUNY is one of the leaders in a national initiative to use work-study dollars to help college students with their work-study dollars. Instead of work in the library, that kind of thing, we're actually using those work-study dollars to have students serve as tutors in K through 12, because the COVID disruption really undermined student academic success. We've seen real hits to math and reading across the country. And one of the things we know is an evidence-based strategy to accelerate improvement is small group intensive tutoring. And we are now mobilizing our students on our college campuses to be those tutors through the work-study program. So we're excited about that. And of course, we also train a huge share of the state's teachers.
Yes, very, very familiar with that. Such important work. And I think, I'm hoping that our conversation today provided the participants with a very broad scope of what SUNY is about, and how fortunate we are here in Westchester to have SUNY, Westchester Community College, with President Dr. Belinda Miles, who also serves on the BCW's executive committee. So we have a great tie there. And also Dr. Millie Pena, who's the president of SUNY Purchase, with whom we have incredibly wonderful relationships and partnerships also. And while SUNY Purchase is known for, of course, their arts and that kind of work, I'm delighted that they also prepare students for biotechnology jobs and education and other things as well. So it's a wonderful campus and a beautiful campus. And I love their Performing Arts Center and their Nürburgring Museum. So we are very, very privileged here in Westchester County to have two wonderful SUNY institutions. And with you as the leader of SUNY, New York State is so proud and privileged to have SUNY really moving forward in a very, very, very positive way, educating people, preparing our workers for the future, and making such significant economic contributions in so many of our communities for so many of our people. So Chancellor King, I hope that kind of summarized everything. If there's anything else you'd like to add, we'd like to do that now.
Well, I just want to thank you, Marcia, for this opportunity, and also just thank you personally for your leadership. You know, having worked with you with different hats over the last 10, 15 years. You know, you just take so seriously the role of the business community, not only in fostering economic development, but really fostering the health and well-being of communities. So thank you for leading in the way that you do.
Absolutely. And don't forget to follow Chancellor King on Twitter at John B. King. Correct? Do I have that?
That's right. At John B. King. That's right.
And I enjoy reading what you're up to or getting snapshots of it on Twitter, and really then taking the opportunity to learn more about what's happening at SUNY. So I'm sure this will be the first of many conversations that we have. We appreciate your leadership, and we appreciate so much KeyBank for once again providing us the forum to speak with you, to learn from you, and to find out what you're doing throughout New York State and throughout the Hudson Valley and Westchester. So Wallace Lynch, Senior Vice President for Business Banking and Sales Team Leader, the Hudson Valley and the Metro New York market at KeyBank, thank you so much for your leadership also. And we wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy.
Thanks. Take care.